Hello everyone and welcome to another incredible game from the German Masters 2024. It is round 4 and it is Aryan Tari versus Marc, Andria, Maurizzi. And once you see this game you will think, okay, of course Black is obviously a very bad player, but that could not be further from the truth because Tari's opponent here, Marc, Andria, Maurizzi, is the reigning world junior champion, and not so long ago he played in the Tata Steel Challengers section where after 11 rounds he was leading the tournament by a full point. So he almost won the Challenger section to qualify for next year's Masters, but in the end he finished a point behind Leon Lukmendonka. So obviously an incredibly strong player. And that's why this is either a cursed opening for Black or an unbeatable Gambit for White. Now, what I will show you here is the Martial Gambit against the semi-Slav defense. Martial Gambit is very well known in the Rui Lopez or against the Rui Lopez, but here, obviously, Martial employed it against this setup, and I haven't found any different names to this Gambit, so let's call it Martial Gambit the second, unless you guys have a name on what it actually is. But let's just enjoy the game and then see why it's so incredible. And I wasn't able to find a single game in the database where Black actually did okay with this opening, even when played by some incredibly strong players like Paco Vallejo or even Arjun Erigaisi or other strong players tried using it, but no one was able to win a game. Barely draws were managed. So let's check it out. Here, Tari, Aryan Tari with the white pieces opens with pawn to c4. We have e6, the Agincourt defense to the English, knight to c3, d5, and now with the d4, c6, we transpose into the semi-Slav defense, and now pawn to e4. Now this is the Martial Gambit in this line. And it's gambiting the d4 pawn for some very rapid development and for some nice counterplay with the bishop pair. Now this is what I mean. D captures on e4, knight captures bishop to b4 with check, and now white plays bishop to d2. White invites black to capture on d4, and Marc Andria, of course, does it. This has been played thousands of times by very, very strong players. We have bishop captures on b4, now queen captures on e4 with check, bishop to e2, and now knight to a6. This is the most played move in the position because you really want to get that development in, and this comes with tempo. So, of course, you attack the bishop, and the most played move is bishop to a5. Here, Aryan goes for bishop to d6, and here queen captures on g2, just threatening to win the rook, bishop to f3, and now queen to g5. And everything is perfectly fine here. If you ask the engine, Black is even better. So no problems here. We have knight to e2 and now knight to e7. Now you are ready to castle, but here comes knight to g3. And there are a couple of games that reach this position. The one that I've mentioned where Nodribe Abdusattor defeated Arjun Erigaisi. Arjun tried pawn to e5, but he lost that game. And also queen all the way to a5 with check is a known move. But here we have knight to f5, and it is now as of move 12 that we have a completely new game. Also, you could castle. There's no danger. There's no way to actually remove the queen from the defense of the knight. If you try with something like pawn to h4, it's still not a problem because you have queen to a5 with check, and then you move the queen, and then you move the knight, and it's even Black who's better here. So it makes sense to play knight to f5, but now look at this. Knight captures on f5, and remember, knight to f5 is a completely new game. So knight to f5 has never been played before. And now look at this. Knight captures on f5, and now what should you play here? Well, queen captures on f5 is the way to go. You play queen captures on f5, and the game continues. Not, White has a wide variety of options. You could go pawn to b4, queen to e2, rook to g1, go after the g7 pawn. All of these are okay moves for White. But in the game, e captures on f5 was played, which loses the game on the spot, but you really have to know your way around complicated positions to spot this one. I have no idea if Tari brought this one along from home, if this is a prepared move, just in case someone blunders badly like this, because it really does not look like a blunder. Any other move you play other than this one, Black will just continue the game. But you find this move and Black can resign on the spot, basically. So feel free to pause the video and win the game for Aryan while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on putting black basically in Zugzwang in an open board full of pieces. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is queen to b3. This is what Aryan played, and now once you see it, of course, you immediately believe it. There is no move that black can make. The bishop is preventing castles. The knight cannot move. The bishop controls all of the squares. You can go knight back to b8, and that was even played in the game, but it does not help black. You cannot move the bishop because of queen captures on b7. You cannot move the rook because the bishop guards that, and it makes no sense. So what you could do is, let's say you play queen back to d8, you go after the bishop here, but then white just castles queenside and now has all sorts of nasty threats. And if you go queen b6 to go for a queen trade, queen to a4, and again, black is not doing okay here. And for example, if knight c7, you try to get the knight into the game, c5 wins the knight. You have to move the queen and then just bishop captures, or you go knight to c5 and then queen to a3 with a double attack on the knight. And what do you do? Knight e4, you're just gonna captures, queen to g3. You still can't castle, you still can't do much. G7 is hanging, also queen to e5 check is coming, so you can't even play g6 because you're gonna blunder the rook. So this is just unplayable. That's the power of the bishop pair on an open board. So after queen b3, knight to b8 was played. Marc Andria says, all right, I either survive this or I don't, but I have to move my knight back. And now Tari plays king to f1, going after rook to e1 check, and that will force the king into an open board, or you block with the bishop and then you give up the b7 pawn. But there's not much you can try here. Queen to h6 was played, going after the bishop here. Now c5, pawn to b5, and now you're probably thinking, okay, let's just leave the bishop here nicely defended, but no, c captures on b6. Aryan plays the strongest move recommended by the engine. Point being that if the bishop is captured by the queen, then b7 is coming, and then after bishop captures, rook to e1 check first. You of course don't want to allow the black king to escape, and after the king moves, now you capture on b7, and you're also going to win the rook on a8. There's no way to defend that, and black can just resign. So instead, after c captures on b6, a captures on b6 was played, and now rook to e1 with check, bishop to e6, or you go for example, with king to d7, but then queen captures on f7, and then after king captures on d6, queen to e7 is checkmate. Even that is possible. So here, bishop to e6 was played, giving up the b pawn, queen captures on b6, and now queen to h3 with check. This is one last trick that Marc Andria is trying. If bishop to g2, then you have queen to d3 check, winning the bishop on d6, but of course, Aryan just goes king to e2, and now knight to d7. Again, it seems like bishop to c4 continues the king hunt, but not really. If you deliver this check, then white, by moving the king, will deliver a deadly check. King to d1 with a discovered check, and now once the bishop returns, bishop captures on c6. Knight to d7, bishop captures on d7 with check, king captures as the bishop is pinned, queen c7 check, king e8, and of course queen to e7 will be checkmate. So after king e2, knight to d7 was played, but again, not much to do. Queen captures on c6, attacks the rook, rook to b8, and now even pawn to b4. The move is just always here. Pawn to g5, now it's time to start pushing those kingside pawns because you're getting destroyed in the center. Queen to c3, attacking the newly created weakness, that is the rook on h8, pawn to f6, and now king to d2. Just opening up the rook here. King defends the bishop, and now, well, I don't even have to tell you what's coming because I accidentally left it highlighted. A rook captures on e6. King captures, and now, a final touch, rook to e1 with check with a bishop sacrifice, king captures, and queen to c6 checkmate. Beautiful 27 move miniature. And I don't know, is this the unbeatable Gambit? If it is, if you face the semi-Slav defense, try playing it. It looks weird if you don't know it works, but as you've seen, black is really one wrong move and it's game over, whereas white on multiple occasions has many options and many good options to choose from. So try it out if you face the semi-Slav, and yeah, it also could go very nice for you because no one was able to play this with black and win. There are some draws, but no wins in top level chess, so do try it. So yeah, brilliant stuff by Aryan, and you guys always say that I only show games where Tari loses, so here is a brilliant victory, a miniature against the world champion by Aryan. So hope you enjoyed that, and hopefully I've righted some wrongs done, obviously, unintentionally done against Aryan Tari on this channel. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Kevin Hawkins, Daniel Heist, GMD over GMG, Anthony Palumbi, and Matthew Witten for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.